I think black people are not irredeemable, but there just needs to be brutal honesty. It's like, look, they're obnoxious, they're rude, they're inconsiderate, cruel. Nobody hates black people for being black. Black people. And you equate that with danger.
All right, everybody. You saw it. You heard it. You know what we're about to do. We are going to go back into the belly of the beast. We're going to sit down and listen to something that Nick Fuentes said recently. It's been on Twitter, all over social media. Lots of people are in their feelings. But I want to talk about it from an honest perspective. I want to get your thoughts on it. So definitely jump into the best comment section on the planet. And if you heard the word perspective, then you know that I have a guest. And my guest today is Wise from a righteous perspective. Grace and peace, brother. How are you?
I'm great, man. Appreciate you having me on today. Appreciate you. I'm looking forward to this conversation, man. A lot of smoke. A lot of smoke on X, man.
Yeah, man. This is a lot of smoke. Okay, give me your overall high view assessment of this.
Oh, man. I think a lot of people, I will say in our community, are suffering from some of the same fatigue that he mentions. I'm looking forward to getting into it completely, because I thought that there was some differentiation amongst the groups of black folks, but I'm looking forward to getting into it and diving into it a little more, just to hear it out one more time, you know, in its full context. And but a lot of what he said, just from what I heard, honestly, man, you can't refute it. You know, you just can't.
I
and
totally
sometimes, hey, the truth hurts, man. People don't want to hear the truth because it does hurt. You know, it will cut you going and coming.
And it really, and let's also be honest. The truth hurts, whether it's from Wise telling me something or somebody like a Nick Fuentes telling me something.
Absolutely.
I was watching someone discuss Shannon Sharpe today, and they discussed how people like Shannon Sharpe were not willing to listen to people like this particular individual. And so, and the individual and people, I know this person had said it, that, you know, hey, you moving reckless with these young ladies, blah, 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 blah. And this might've been a year and a half, 2 years ago, I heard this person say that. So now come fast forward in 2025, and Shannon Sharpe is almost, you know, hitting the Cash App, doing a Umar Johnson. It's like, hey, maybe we should listen to even those people whom we think are haters, or even people that we don't think like us. Is there any truth in what they're saying? You know, can we find a nugget of truth in what they're saying? And I agree with you. A lot of what this gentleman is saying is not wrong. It's just maybe, again, if we had I was going to actually take the audio of this and juxtapose it over somebody else and see if and maybe change the voice a little bit and see if people would be equally upset if it were somebody else saying it, maybe like a black person or a Hispanic person, or maybe not a problematic guy like Nick Fuentes. Would they be just as upset, or is it just because of Nick?
He has a past. You know, he has a reputation, and his reputation definitely precedes him. And I think some of the pushback that he's receiving is because of his reputation, to be honest with you. But I'm one of those kind of people, you know, I believe that, hey, good advice is good advice. Doesn't necessarily matter where it comes from. Mm-hmm. Good advice is good advice. You know?
All right, then, Wise. Here it comes. You put it out there, Wise. Here comes a challenge. Let's see if we can get some good advice. Let's go.
Black people are not irredeemable, but there just needs to be brutal honesty. It's like, look, these black people are really struggling, and they're turning into these maniacs. It seems like they don't do anything right. They're obnoxious, they're rude, they're inconsiderate, aggressive, cruel. And, you know, look, nobody hates black people for being black. If there are people like that, I think that's exceedingly rare. And I don't consider myself one of them.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stop right there, because he said a lot. Good gracious, man. He said a lot right there. I want to go with what he just said right there. Go ahead.
Yeah, he did. He said people, you know, he said there's, you know, rude, maybe inconsiderate, things of that nature. I'm going to give you a story just that happened to me today. I'm at the, I think it's CVS or Walgreens. I can't remember which one. I always get them mixed up. But there's a pharmacy right up the way from my house. I go there to pick up a couple items. We're in line. There is an older woman in front of me. She's writing a check. Now, this is 2025. If you know anything about writing a check, It's a process.
Really?
So
Wow.
so much so that the cashier, she didn't know how to actually process to cash the check or to to take a check
Process
for a
it, yeah.
payment. So she had
Wow.
to reach out to her manager and have the manager come up front. So that took a little bit. The line is building behind me. She turns to me and says, "I'm sorry, sir. This is taking a little longer. I've never had to do this before." I'm like, "No worries. I'm not in a rush. Not a big deal." There was a young sister, two people behind me, and she said this loud enough that I heard it. I'm for certain that the lady that was actually writing the check heard it, that I don't care. I got somewhere to be. And I'm sitting there like, in my mind, I'm like, wow, really? And mind you, the lady that was writing the check, you would assume if you're writing a check in 2025, this is probably somewhere of the older persuasion. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
I'm not going to say how old the lady was because I don't know, but this was an older woman who pulled out her checkbook. I knew this was going to be a minute. I knew it. As soon as she pulled the checkbook out, y'all take checks? I was like, oh, we're going to be here a while.
Wow. I honestly have no idea how to write a check for a store. Like I can write a check for a bill for church. Yeah, I don't know how to do that one. I'd be in trouble. I'd be in some tall weeds myself. So, okay. No. Okay. And I agree. But the problem I have with Nick is he just seems to lump everybody who is of high melanin into this equation. And your perspective, as you told the story here, there was the check writer, there was you, and then there was a sister behind you. All three of y'all had different perspectives. The woman that's writing the check, she's very humble. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. You like, hey, no problem. We good. So I wouldn't lump you with the woman that was back there. She probably had bonnets and slides on too. So I don't know if I would be doing that. And that's the thing I don't like is that Nick is quick to lump all Black people together. Mm-hmm. And again, not all Black people roll like this. And we've talked about this on multiple occasions where we do stand against the bonnet, slides, and pajamas. So we don't approve of those behaviors. We do need to do more to separate ourselves from it and call it out. But we also need you not to be bombastic like this and say something like all Black people are struggling, all Black people are psychopaths and all this kind of stuff like that. That's just not no. And again,
shouldn't use the term all at all. I
right.
Yeah. All, when you say all, that's taking it too far, because the reality of it is it's a small percentage of us, right, that acts like this. The issue is, Jason, is that for too many years, those of us that would be quote unquote the sane, competent, we're just going to do the right thing, Black folks have chosen to not say anything about those that we know cause the problems, that when they get to cutting up, we say, okay, time to go. But instead of stepping up and saying something, we've chosen to say absolutely nothing for either fear of retribution, or it's a situation where it's just like, hey, I'm not going to go against somebody that looks like me. And some of it is on us to police ourselves.
That is a good point. Excellent point. And I do think that's really ultimately, and we talked about this, holding ourselves accountable. This is an accountability issue, but let's continue and hear what Mr. Fuentes has to say.
The reason that people have negative attitudes about Black people is because most people's interactions with Black people are negative.
Okay, I gotta stop. I just don't think that's true.
No, it's not.
I can't. Example being, we've talked before, Wise, offline, and the neighborhood that you live in, I'm going to go on a limb. There's not a lot of YNs up there in your neighborhood.
Nah.
Bonnet, slides, pajamas?
No.
So it's fair to say that the negative influence or the negative observation of Black people doesn't come from, somewhere in the actual neighborhood that you live in. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay. So where are they getting it from? Because because as I've mentioned here in my neighborhood as well, I don't have any bonnet, slides, and pajamas on my hood. I was out cutting the grass earlier today, waving at my neighbors, saying hi. My interaction with Black people and white people and the Indian family across the street was all positive. Hey, how are you doing? The little girl spoke to me. Good to see you. How are you? All that kind of stuff like that. Now, if I go online, It will take me 1-2 keystrokes to find a negative example of an Indian family, a negative example of a white family. I probably wouldn't even need to do a keystroke. Just open it up. And of course, negative examples of black folk. I'm wondering if Nick is imposing the internet on reality. Now, again, he lives in Chicago, so he might be having he is in Chicago, so there might be a different experience. But I'm going to go on a limb and say my neighbors next door, everybody knows I got white neighbors next door. They don't have a negative experience of dealing with us. So they can't say that all my experience with black people is negative. Nope, you can't say that. So, and I don't think they would even say that. I'm wondering if Nick might be imposing Twitter or TikTok or YouTube, body cam footage onto reality. But again, he does live in Chicago, so there is a little bit of grace there.
Yeah, and so I do agree with you there. That could be some of it, because if you are on X a lot, I limit my social media, my social media time anyway. But if you spend time on X, goodness gracious, man, on both sides, you will see some of the most racist and vile behavior on X. And you can go down a rabbit hole on X of just a bunch of shenanigans about just about everybody in our country. You can. But he's also in Chicago. And, I'm not sure exactly where he lives at in Chicago. But when you look at what's going on, I mean, even for us, I've covered a multitude of stories on Chicago. It makes me think that the entire city of Chicago's hood from the outside looking in. Now, I've been to Chicago a couple of times and I didn't necessarily experience that, but online, it definitely looks that way.
I agree. And I think you could easily say that about Baltimore. You could easily say that about Atlanta or Houston or North Carolina, Durham or fill in the blanks. You could easily say that if you just look at it, if you're only getting your experiences from social media and such of that nature or online, if you're only getting it from there, then it's very possible you could have a mixed and warped review of these places. And that's what I think is going on with him. But let's keep it going.
Most people's interactions with black people is when you're stuck in traffic and you see a Nissan Altima speeding down the shoulder. And you say, what the f***? You're not supposed to do that. If everybody did that, it would just be another lane. And, not everybody can do that. But it's like these people have no respect for decorum. They think the rules don't apply to them. They have no respect for society. Like that's their interaction is they are a waiter and they wait on a black table and the black people don't tip and they're rude. That's most people's interactions. It's stuff like that. They go to the DMV and they see a black person behind the counter and they say, oh, here we go. And the person's rude. Now, it just goes to show people are not racist. It goes to show people don't like people that are rude. That people don't, it's unpleasant. People want to be treated with consideration and respect. And it is true that black people are, in this day and age, unfortunately, seem to have very low moral character. It's not even just the violence.
All right, well, I'm going to stop there for a second. All right, how many times do you think Nick Fuentes has been in a DMV and had a black person serve him at a DMV?
Probably not many. I would assume that a lot of what he's getting is from social media. When he brought up the dude, because I just saw a video on X 3 or 4 days ago of a dude talking about the cheat code when you're in traffic, and he was on the shoulder, the side, the shoulder of the road, riding through. I just saw that, and I'm sitting there like, man, this guy is crazy. So a lot of what he is speaking on is just things that he sees online. I would suggest that he probably doesn't have many actual face-to-face interactions with black people. I think most of his interactions, with us is online.
No
now,
question.
Now some of it I can say I've gone to the post office and I've seen the sister up there giving being a little snappy, being a little rude. I've experienced it myself. I've also experienced that at the DMV. So what he's saying, I can't say that he is lying. I will say that, has he experienced it like that? Maybe not, but a lot of the things that he said, I'm like, yo, I've experienced it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've actually, I've experienced it. I've had it happen to me. I've gone to the post office, and these people know that they can't get fired, and they treat you any kind of way there. You ask a question, and you might get your head bitten off.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced this, so I don't know, man.
I know I agree with him 100%. However, and thank you for us not doing like the whataboutisms, because we could quickly say I've had bad experiences with white people. I've had horrible Hispanic waiters, and the nature of that nature. We can go down the list, so we could do that. And I'm glad we're not doing it. We're going to stick to black people and black people's interactions and how people are perceive them. But I just want, because he's about to talk about moral character here, and I'm like, Nick, I don't know if you're the guy to be doing that. So
true. I
agree with him, with you and him, that sure, people have had bad experiences with black people. There's no way I would assess that to every black person. I mean, I live here. I live in an area where when I took President Firstborn and Chief Executive Second to get their license and their permits respectfully, there were only black women working there. I could have easily been like, oh man, but they had a great experience. Easy peasy, no problems whatsoever. Yeah. So what would be now? Could I easily have assumed because I just came from Walmart and saw slides and pajamas? Absolutely.
Easily.
Could I easily?
Absolutely.
Almost got ran off the road by a Nissan Altima? Absolutely. But I just went in there, and treated those people nice. And guess what? We had a very pleasant experience. No problem whatsoever. So
yeah, but I think as because we have interactions like that. I mean, you're in a city that's 70% black folks,
yeah, right.
and we get a chance to see the gambit. We see the good and the bad, right? Even when it comes to dealing with the police. Back in the day when I called myself thugging and bugging, my interactions, I was in DeKalb County. If you know anything about DeKalb County, the majority of the police force are black. Yeah. And it was a known fact that, hey, cut a fool with them if you want to. They will whip your tail. You knew you do not play with them. You know what I'm saying? And the majority of the force is black, all the way up to the sheriff. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that for Nick, I think he has very limited interaction with black people. I don't know where he lives at in Chicago. And I think a lot of his interaction with black people is what he sees online. I think that's a big issue.
I'm gonna throw one more little idea out as well. A lot of Nicks probably, let me ask you this question. If you were walking down the aisle at Kroger, you came down one aisle and there's nobody there, but all of a sudden Nick Fuentes walked down the aisle towards you. What would be, and you knew it was Nick, there's no question about it. You know it was Nick Fuentes. Would you be willing to say, hey, how you doing? Good to see you? Or would you just ignore him?
I'm from the South, man. We speak to everybody. So I'd probably say what's up to him.
Okay. Even if you were up in Chicago, you would speak to him and say, hey?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm from the South, though. I speak to everybody. Right. That's what we do.
I do too. And I probably would as well. But I'm trying to be sympathetic to most black people. If they know who Nick Fuentes is, they probably ain't hollering at him at all. So he is getting, he probably doesn't have access even to good blacks or even reasonable black folk to change his perspective. And all he keeps getting is the water boys down there in the YNs, because those are the only ones that interact with him, and he just hates that.
Yeah, but I would assume that those folks, most of them don't even know who he is.
No.
You know what I'm saying? That would be my assumption. But if they did, it probably would go left pretty quickly if they
I'm just saying, like,
know who he was. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, he's just a white guy in general. He probably isn't, he probably isn't going to have a positive experience. He sounds like he hasn't. And I bet you if, those who do know who he is and they are black are probably not running down the aisle to go down and holler at him and say, hey, what's going on, man? And try to change his perspective. So he probably is in an isolation bubble.
That's very true. That's very true. Now, I'm not saying that I would want to be his friend or, trying to, shake his hand and take a picture with him. I wouldn't say that, but a head nod and what's up and keep it moving. That's just, being cordial when I walk past somebody or something along those lines. Me knowing who he is and what he's about, I would just assume that he wouldn't even be interested in us having any type of dialogue. That would be my assumption, which I'm okay with that. I'm one of those kind of people. if you don't necessarily rock with me, it doesn't hurt my feelings. And I'd actually prefer for you to let me know, hey, I don't necessarily care for you. So therefore,
Okay.
I know exactly where we stand. I don't like the nice nasty, and I don't like the fake smile. Don't give me the fake
Facts.
smile. I'd rather you just walk past me and not say anything than the fake smile. You know what I'm saying?
I can
So
totally dig it.
I am a big proponent of people letting everyone know, hey, this is where I stand with you. I'm good. I'm good with that. Doesn't hurt my feelings at all.
I got you. No, I'm right there with you, man. I like it. Okay, let's see. Let's keep this going.
Seem to have very low moral character. It's not even just the violence, although the violence is pretty striking. If you live your life and you know that you're going to be mugged by black people, it kind of colors your opinion or perception of black people, wouldn't you say? If 99% of the carjackings and stabbings and shootings that you see in Chicago are by black people, when you're walking down the street late at night, guess what you're looking for? Black people. And you equate that with danger. And it doesn't
Anything you want to add to that, or?
No. Hey, to be honest with you, I feel the same way here in Baltimore City. And that's why I don't go into the city on the late night for that very reason. And hey, I would be a little leery if I'm out and about, 11, 12 o'clock and I see some youngins out there. Yeah, my spidey senses is up. You know what I'm saying? I'm keeping my head on the swivel for sure.
For sure.
Because we see it on the news. We know who's committing most of the crimes in these cities. We definitely know who.
I mean, I agree. And I'm wondering, before anybody jumps into the comments, well, what about isms? If before you give me a what about and tell me about white people, blah, 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 blah. If this was not Nick Fuentes, but this was Kamala Harris or Barack Obama saying this exact same thing, what would you say? Would you be jumping in the comment section, or would you be whatever? And if you're going to say Barack Obama wouldn't say that, Kamala Harris wouldn't say that, my next question is, why not? Why would they not call out in our community? Because y'all still pretending like she was a black woman. So I'm going to go ahead and pretend with y'all. Why not in our community are we not willing to say, we have a problem that we have to resolve amongst us? It ain't got nothing to do with white people. It's us. We need to fix this problem. There's something to think about before you jump to the comment section. Now you can go ahead and jump to the comment section. Let's go.
take a lot of them to spoil the whole bunch like that. And we just want black people to take accountability and say, look, I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad person. It just seems that every time I encounter you people, for the most part, it's negative. And so
okay, I wasn't certain who's the I'm here, because his objects of his moved. He said, I need black people to say, I'm not a bad person. Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to back that up just a second.
I think he's talking about I think this is where he's trying to,
Good blacks.
differentiate between, what we would call, I guess, ninjas and black folks.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because there's an old clip. I don't know if you seen it, but it was from, I think it was either Oprah or Phil Donahue or something along those lines, but it was out in Forsyth County. And there was a white man on there saying, hey, black people are good. I've met a lot of really good black people. I don't have an issue with them. But he was like, it's the ninjas that I have a problem with. And this was from the 80s. So this isn't new language. This isn't new. These aren't new talking points. You know what I'm saying? Folks have been talking like this for a long time. To include Chris Rock, he even did a comedy bit about it. You know what I'm saying?
Did.
And the crazy, and the thing is that the way he's going about doing this, it isn't right. But if black people actually policed themselves and said and just called out the wrongdoing when it happened and stopped trying to defend people when they are wrong, just like the Cincinnati situation that just happened a couple weeks back.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Just
Absolutely.
like that, instead of saying, hey, that type of behavior, it's vile and abhorrent, and we should not condone that type of behavior. But no, you had a lot of folks that jumped on the bandwagon with these people because they had a certain shade of melanin. You gotta call it out, man. Seriously, we can't get on board with everybody just because we have a similar amount of melanin. Like, come on, man.
Facts. No, I agree with you 100%. Let's let him tease us out.
I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad person. It just seems that every time I encounter you people, for the most part, it's negative.
Somehow or another, he shifted the point. He's talking about Nick, am not a bad person. Every time Nick, interact with you people, black people. I just wondered, it was an interesting shift. I was confused why he did that, but let's go.
And sometimes extremely negative, like I could get a gun in my face. You know, that's a problem. And people go, well, you are just loaded up with hatred and racism. It's like, I'm really not. I'm a really friendly person. I'm a really polite, friendly person. I give everybody a chance. But if I'm someplace and I see some black person walking in with their pants sagging and they can't articulate what their problem is or what they need, and they're rude and they're aggressive, and I'm in fear for my life, like, yeah, I have a problem with all of that. And people go,
okay. I mean,
he's frustrated, man.
He's frustrated. It does come across uber frustrated. Yeah.
Yes, he is frustrated.
Like, I'm a friendly person. I'm a good person, but he got IGA fatigue. That's what it is. It's IGA fatigue. And again, not giving excuses, because he says some pretty wild stuff. And in my opinion, does not help him engender friendship. As the book says, how to influence people, how to win friends, and influence people. How to lose friends and run away people. So he does put himself in a bad pickle, but he does sound frustrated. He does sound like I'm, because that whole gun in my face thing, that sounded personal.
Yeah,
it sounded like Chicago. I might have got mugged.
Is it highly probable that it has happened before in the city of Chicago? It's highly probable.
It's very possible.
I'm not saying it did happen, but it's very possible. Seriously. I mean, Chicago, one of the most dangerous cities in the country.
It's giving you, this actually happens to you. All right, let's go.
Go, and these black people go, well, you're racist, you're racist. It's like, no, I just hate inconsiderate behavior. If black people were super well behaved, we would be racist in the other direction. We'd say, black people, oh yes, dude, yes. My day is about to turn around for the better. What can I help you with, sir? Please come right on in. Man, what a relief to see you here. You're a sight for sore eyes. If black people were known for being the best, then we would be racist in the other direction. Oh, finally. So yeah, that really bothers me. It just bothers me in this damn ass city, because that's all it is in Chicago, is just these black people who can never take accountability. It's always somebody else's fault.
All right, I'm gonna let this young man tease it out. Shout out to Night Talk. But what you want to add to that, Wise?
He sounds like someone who is extremely frustrated with the city of Chicago. And to be honest with you, I would assume that you could find some of those folks, especially those that are part of that Chicago Flips Red, Danielle and some of those other people, that would say the exact same things that he's saying, because they're frustrated with the way the city is being ran right now. Soft on crime policies. They're letting these youngins just run around with basically no consequences at all. I mean, if you recall, a year ago, they jumped on, a white couple out there for no apparent reason and just beat the brakes off them, the husband and the wife. So it just sounds like he is frustrated with what's going on in the city of Chicago. And it sounds like some of the things that he mentioned, he's personally experienced. And to be honest with you, if I experienced those things, I would be frustrated as well. So to an extent, I understand where he's coming from, to an extent. But at the same time, he needed to differentiate and say, hey, I understand that all black people are not like this. There is a subset. And the reality of it is that if we're being truthful, for all the people in the comment section that's going to come out there and say, oh, he's defending, if we're being truthful, a lot of us feel the exact same way.
Yeah. A
lot of us feel the exact same way. You know, if I see, a pack of youngins walking down the street, you know what I'm saying? If I'm in the city somewhere and they dread it out with the grills and the pants sagging and things of that nature, I'm going to be a little leery. Would the thought process, would the thought come across my mind? Maybe I should cross the street. Yeah, it would. Just to be safe.
I'm right there with you. Let me also add, it doesn't help that Chicago's mayor makes some of the most grossest, racially motivated, racially biased, racist commentary of mayors. I don't think I've met a mayor, heard a mayor say some of the most foolish things that Brandon Johnson has said. So I'm pretty sure it probably doesn't bode well for, he might be representing other people of less melanin who are feeling this way because they're not represented by Brandon Johnson. They're not thought of even in the, they're not even thought of as it relates to safety and growth and all that kind of stuff. All you hear is black this, black that, people of color this, people of color that. I can see he probably is frustrated. Like, well, where is our representation? And and maybe that's why he doesn't see anybody good per se, because he didn't. I was hoping he would delineate and say, hey, there's definitely a large majority of people, but y'all that are that fall under the umbrella of black, highly melanated, but you're being drugged down by these YNs and these bonnets and pajamas. I was hoping he would say that, but he didn't. But
he didn't go there. He didn't go there. He comes across as an individual that is extremely frustrated and fed up. And he himself can't understand, why aren't the people that would not fall into said category, why won't they say anything and stand up against these people? Like, why won't they? And that's been something that's been plaguing, I would say, been plaguing Black communities around the country for decades.
For sure.
The refusal to stand up and say, hey, this isn't right, for fear of not coming across as down with the people.
Right.
You can't say like that. You can't say stuff like that in front of these people. Those types of things. A lot of people do not want to hear the truth. They don't. And unfortunately, we also have a group of, Black folks that would be considered upstanding citizens that also condone the shenanigans.
Facts.
We see it online. They condone it. So
even though they don't live near it.
Even though they don't live near it, soon as they got some money, they got up out of there. They was Uncle Elroy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they were.
They were Uncle Elroy, soon as they got some money, he's like, I said, if I ever get some money, I ain't never gonna leave the hood. But he said it. Soon as I got that check, I was gone.
I love
and there's
it.
a lot of people. There's a lot of people just like that. We were like that. My parents, we grew up, man. The first half of my life, man, we lived in the hood. As soon as my mom graduated college, my pops was trucking. As soon as they got enough money to get us up out of there, we were gone and we never looked back. We go back to visit because we still had some family members out there for family reunions and things of that nature. Other than that, please, we're never going back there. Are you kidding?
All right, let's finish up. Let's see what Night Talk has to say. I love it, man. Thank you so much, Wise. Let's bring Night Talk in here.
In agreement with a lot of things that he says outside of the generalization of Black folk, because your boy got some ghetto fatigue. I mean, that's all it sounds like. This is just a ghetto fatigue, or no, not ghetto fatigue, Black fatigue. That's all this sounds like is Black fatigue. He's saying Black fatigue, bro, but that is a certain pocket of Black folks that comes out of the Black community, bro. But what you're describing, sir, is Black culture. See how you respond. I would wonder what he's thinking like this when he sees Black folk. Every Black person he sees, he immediately associates that image towards. That's dangerous. It's no different from women out here brushing all men as grapists and misogynists and sexist and all this, or, violent or whatnot, man, because of whatever interaction they've had with a few men.
All right. So I did add a couple of comments to the back. So let me just throw these in here. Another fact is that good Blacks have to suffer with the bad. And I don't like good versus bad, but we are, because I believe we're the vast majority of Black people. And we do allow bad ones, the uncultured, to tear us down. Absolutely. Oh, this is too small, man. I can't even see that. As a black man, he's not lying. As a black man, some of the most rude service and inconsiderate actions have been by my own people. I mean, do you disagree at all? I mean, there's no lie detected. Yeah, I can't say anything. I'm an old white woman, but I have more black community experience than a lot of black Americans. It wasn't like this 20 years ago. It's bad now. That's very interesting. I'm sure there are people who, other people groups have lived amongst us. Yeah. There's a good and bad people, has nothing to do with color. Well, okay, what do you think about that?
I mean, he's absolutely right. But that's not what we're talking about in this particular video. That goes back to what you were saying with the whataboutisms. We know that there is a degenerate class of people
of all
in
stripes
every demographic across the country. We know this. We know this.
And I think, and I've said this before, and I do appreciate this person's comment, but the only way black people are going to resolve the issue is black people are going to sit down and resolve this issue. You can't introduce white people into this situation. It has to be a highly concentrated, high melanin solution think tank. If you start introducing white people, what about white people? What about Asian people? The onus and the responsibility, the accountability goes out the window, and nobody will ever resolve anything because they're like, well, we can't do anything until the Mexicans get their stuff together. Them Asian folk, you know what they be doing? Oh man, we can't. We're gonna leave our stuff. We're gonna keep acting like this. This is a black problem. And sure, maybe the white people need to sit down and have a conversation. People group, sure. But this is a problem I think black people should really address because we can resolve this issue. Okay, let's keep it going. I think there's like two more. I certainly don't like what Nick was saying. Yes, black folks are portrayed in a negative light in news and other media, but that's because no one has to worry about people who are quietly doing the right thing day in and day out. That's why I don't think he has any friends in real life, or he interacts with black people in real life. He might just be getting his daily dose of niggas from social media.
Online. That's it. Yeah. Social media, because I mean, well, I'll let you play it. Yeah, let's go through
He probably catching it. Yeah.
Yeah, the next comment or tweet.
I've gotten all the same S from white people. So no, this isn't a race thing, but it's easy to use black people as a scapegoat because it takes a lot of attention off of everyone else's major shortcomings.
See, that's the lack of accountability that we're talking about.
Right.
We understand that, there are some white folks that are on that lower class. We understand that there are Asians on the lower class, Hispanics on the lower class. We understand that. Where Nick kind of went wrong on this is that, yes, there was no delineation, no, differentiation amongst the people. And he just kind of grouped and said everybody. And that's if there is a flaw in this, that is the flaw right there in his diatribe. That is the flaw. But we got to stop with the whataboutism. We got to stop with the just because they do it, it makes it all right for us to do it. You wouldn't allow your children to do it.
Absolutely not.
You wouldn't allow your children to act a fool and say, well, such and such, my sister got away with it. My brother got away with it. They were able to do it. Nah, you wouldn't tolerate that. You wouldn't tolerate it at all. And the reality of it is that when you think about the lower class of other demographics in our nation, those people don't big those folks up. They don't. They don't prop them up. The lower class white folks are not being propped up like that. Lower class Hispanics are not being propped up like that. Lower class Asian folks are definitely not being propped up. They will disown your behind. They're like, not us. Don't you bring that stuff up. They will not do it. They're really strict. They'll disown you. You start cutting a fool. You know what I'm saying? And tarnishing their name. It's us that feel like we have to bring everybody on. We got to bring everybody with us. And I don't think we have to do that. I don't think we have to do it. And the reality of it is, this is really a class issue more than it is, a black, white,
color.
Hispanic, Asian thing. It's really a class issue. And when you look at, I was watching, I don't know if you watch anything from, what's his name? John Hope Bryant. I don't know if you've ever watched anything from him, but he was talking about, he was like, you can look at the credit scores of a community, and the credit score of said community will determine the type of crime that's in that community. Communities that have an average of 700 credit scores don't have a lot of crime. But communities with a combined credit scores of around 500, that's where all the crime is happening at. And I mean, I was like, I had never even thought about it in that manner, but I was like, makes complete sense. We're just talking about a lower class of individuals.
You got me looking now, and I'm searching real quick. What's the credit score? Oh, okay. My average credit score in my area is 687. The Georgia average is 695, and the U.S. average is 715.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Okay,
that's better than I expected. Way better than I expected.
Well, let's see. Oh, they're giving like an average for I put in my zip code, and so it's giving me that was that 687 for my. It's just going with my city. It's not my zip code. But okay, gotcha. Interesting. That was interesting. Okay, I can dig that. I can dig it. Let's finish this up. Got one more. I think one more. Hey, he ain't generalizing. He's talking about a stereotype that a majority perpetuate.
I disagree with that. I disagree with the comment. He is generalizing. And it's not a majority. He's actually talking about, a subset, a minority, of the people within said demographic of people. But
that is correct.
The dude, you could just hear it in his voice, man. He's just frustrated. I don't know who this guy is, but person.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're talking about.
Nah, I would say that this is definitely a minority that's perpetuating the stereotype. And they're just the ones that everybody zooms in on. They're the ones that get the attention. They're the ones that get the eyeballs, if you will. Because sadly, a lot of this is coming from social media. I guarantee you, Nick Fuentes does not know the 5 neighbors around his house. The 5 people, 5 down to the left, 5 to the right, and 5 in front. I bet you he doesn't know them by name, and can say hi when he sees them at the grocery store. But he has a perception of black people that seems to be all encompassing and all powerful. But sir, no, really, you don't really know people, and that's. I think getting to know people would help him out a lot.
It would.
But
it would.
Then again,
when you make those grand sweeping, type comments,
for sure,
it's never good. It's never good. When you use all of anything, that's never good. That's never good. So he's off there. But if he was just, if he just kind of broke it down and says, hey, there is a certain subset of black folks that, hey, I just don't understand. I can't get with it. When I see it, and we all know what it looks like when we see it. We all know what it looks like when we see it. We all can identify it. He just didn't do a good job in articulating himself, when it comes to just differentiating the people a little bit. Because he could say the same thing, about the Latino community. He could say the exact same thing, about the Latino community. Especially out in Chicago with the amount of, Latin gangs and things of that nature they got going on out there. He can definitely do that. They got a lot of them.
And I think, again, just the overarching, the broad stroke swath is not a good look. Like, don't do that part. And also, I think it would be very interesting if he had divided them up and say, hey, this is a class issue. There's a class of black folk that behave more like the Cosby Show. There's a class of black folk that behave like the Real Housewives of Potomac. Or what is it, baddies? You know what I'm saying? Like, if he had just, because again, there's quite a bit of us that don't behave like this. And we're looking at him shaking his head. And I do think that because sometimes people are not willing to separate those people, the Cosby Show blacks are not willing to enter into the chat and try to add some insight and wisdom and bring some people some insight, and maybe they could see a better path. Does that make sense?
It does, but I do think that with the black fatigue movement that has happened over the summer, I do think that you're starting to see more and more black people say, "Hey, we're not all like that. We're not all like that," and being willing to call out the degenerate behavior. And I get it. There's going to be some people out there be like, "Well, what about?" But I'm one of those kind of people like, "Hey, can we focus on us? Can we control what we can control?"
Because we can't control what the white people do. We can't control Asian people.
Exactly. But we can call out, the people that are, quote unquote, and I hate to say a part of our community because being a follower of Christ, I look at it like, hey, your race doesn't necessarily, being black doesn't make you a part of my community, to be honest with you, in the way that I look at things. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at folks, based off of your character, the type of morals that you have, are you a believer in the scriptures and the word of God? You know what I'm saying? I'm more, in line and probably have more in common with someone, that may be white, Hispanic, Asian, that would consider themselves, a follower of Christ in comparison to, some, lower class black person, that's not there. And that's not to say that I couldn't have a conversation with those folks. I'm just saying we don't have a lot to talk about.
Correct. And the idea and the notion that we do just because of our skin color is a misnomer, and you're setting yourself up for major disappointment because we don't have anything in common. If that's all we have in common is just our skin color.
Absolutely.
So I agree with you, man. Well, Wise, man, thank you, brother. That was a good conversation, man.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you for coming through. I look forward to have you come back through again. Matter of fact, I think we're gonna be rocking tomorrow, so I'm gonna need to go get some sleep.
Absolutely.
So I can get ready. We got a good conversation playing tomorrow. So Wise, thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate you. Let me drop you in the back. I'll catch you in a second. All right, shout out to Wise from A Righteous Perspective. Fantastic discussion. Looking at what Nick Fuentes says. We're looking at definitely maybe doing this again. So let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. Do you agree with Nick? Do you think that he had a pretty good take, but maybe it was a little bit off? Or do you think he was just totally off altogether? He should never have said anything. Let me know what you think. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, everybody, let's do it again real soon. Grace and peace.